everyone. My name is Dr. Corsepius, and welcome to your Chem1A course here at Fresno State. I want to take a second to introduce you to our course Canvas page and our course policies so that we can hit the ground running with our material when we meet for our first class period. All right, so first of all, when you log on to Canvas, this is this page you'll see here. What we have is this first button is our course introduction. This will take you to our course introduction module where all of our course policies are summarized. We have some quick buttons here that will take you to various pages within that course introduction module, like our syllabus, office hours, and our tutoring schedule, things that you might want to have easier access to. All right, the first thing I'm going to do is just show you what's in our course introduction module here. All right, importantly, you have this video that you're watching under this course introduction page, as well as instructions on how to turn on your submission comment notifications. All right, this way, if you submit an assignment and I make a comment on it, you're notified of that, as well as where you can download our syllabus. All right, and so this is what I want to sort of start to go over here are our various course policies, taking a look at the different types of assignments that you can expect to see in this course week to week. All right, and actually I think the best way to illustrate this is to sort of scroll down to our first chapter module here. So this is our chapter 1 module. In general, all of a chapter's information will be kept in a module. A module is kind of just like a folder, so you can collapse it here. So these are all these pages and assignments that are within that module. Every module will start out with an introduction page. This gives you the learning objectives for that chapter, as well as any important documents like a periodic table that you might need to download. We also have these various assignments, and let's sort of start going over these: daily quizzes, lecture assignments, and end of chapter assignments. Okay, so just taking a look at our syllabus now. Again, I showed you where that button was where you can download and read through the syllabus on your own. But just to sort of note here, this is a summary of our different assignments. First thing we can note, our attendance policy. So class attendance is mandatory, and I'm going to be taking attendance each class period. How I'll be doing that is at the beginning of class, there will be a daily quiz. So daily quizzes will open 5 minutes before class starts, and they'll be due 5 minutes after the start of class, and then they'll close for good 15 minutes after the start of class. These are meant to be very quick quizzes, only a few questions worth a total of 6 points per week. And again, this is sort of how I'm going to be grading class participation, encouraging you guys to come to class. Importantly, a lot of people who do not succeed in Chem 1A don't succeed because they have poor attendance. They stop coming to class, they think that they're going to cram everything before an exam, and it just doesn't work like that. You really need to make sure that you're keeping pace with the material. I want to incentivize you to have as good of student behavior as possible. The simplest thing that you can do for yourselves to make your own lives easier is to just come to class every class period, right? That way you'll have that new information explained to you by me. You don't have to go and read the textbook afterwards or watch a lecture video or something like that, all right? You know, because are you really gonna watch the lecture video if you miss it? Like, let's be real. So, come to class. There will be a daily quiz at the beginning of each class. That's how I'll be checking attendance, okay? Rather, grading class participation, and that's how your attendance record will be built at the end of the semester. We also had these other types of homework assignments. So those will be in-class assignments, our daily quizzes. Importantly, I guess just to note about the daily quizzes, these cannot be made up. So if you miss a class, you're going to get a 0 for that daily quiz. However, I understand that there are reasons why students might not be able to come to class for any given reason. And so because of that, you get 2 weeks worth of daily quizzes dropped at the end of the semester. So your lowest 2 weeks worth of daily quizzes are dropped to account for any unforeseen absences. Okay, so then our homework assignments that we can expect to see, we have lecture assignments and end of chapter assignments. Lecture assignments are like your lower stakes assignments. If we just go back here, we can see we have several of these lecture assignments here, and they're not worth a ton of points. They're only worth 2 points, and there's several of them. They total about 10 points per week. These are your low stakes assignments in that you have an infinite number of attempts to complete each one of these questions. Okay. Not only that, but you can also refresh and get new problems and sort of use these assignments to practice and make sure that you understand the material. And then we have an end of chapter assignment, which is worth a little bit more points. There's only one, and it's worth more points. This is your medium stakes assignment here. Now, all of a sudden, you are going to be penalized for incorrect attempts. You're going to have multiple attempts per question, but you're going to get counted off a certain percentage depending on whether or not you have a incorrect answer entered. This is where you're going to prove to me that you actually understood all that material, right? So you get out all the kinks here. It's the same types of questions as you can expect to see in your lecture assignments, just now you don't have an infinite number of attempts, right? So now you're going to prove to me that you actually learned what you were supposed to learn up here, okay? We then package that all into our we do a few different chapters. We package that into our high stakes assignment, our exam. This is where you got one shot to do it correct, all right? Our exams are going to be worth 100 points each. They're going to be majority multiple choice questions, and importantly, they're going to be held over in the Bulldog Testing Center over a period of about 2 days, usually 2, maybe 3 days. On exam days, the only thing that you can have with you is your photo ID, Scantron pencil, and a calculator. Make sure that you're following the rules for the testing center. They're very strict about not having electronic devices, okay? Basically, like if you have a phone or a watch, you need to make sure to turn it off. The other thing is it is really important that you have a photo ID. So if you do not already, make sure to get your student ID. All right, and then last type of assignment that we can expect is at the very end of the semester, our final exam. This is now your highest stakes assignment where you have this cumulative final exam, all that material packaged into one, right? I like to call it the championship game of the semester, what you've been building towards as we're going throughout the course. Okay, and if you have a serious reason for missing an exam, what the university calls a serious and compelling reason, you need to make sure to notify me within 24 hours for me to help arrange a time with you as to when you're going to be back on campus and when you can take that exam, all right? Importantly, all exams will count towards your final exam. I don't drop any exams or anything like that, so you're going to need to make sure to keep track of your grade throughout the semester, all right? Importantly, your grade will be kept on Canvas. Our grade breakdown here, our grading scale, 90 to 100 is an A, 80 to 89 is a B, 70 to 79 is a C, 60 to 69 is a D, anything below that is an F. Here are approximately the different weightings based on our different assignment categories. I say approximate because in my class I like points to be points. By that I mean I'm not going to lock in those percentages. Rather, the difference between an exam and a homework assignment is that exams are simply worth more points. So there's not any sort of weighting that's going to take place at the end of the semester. So for example, I can't make it to class one day and we miss a daily quiz, that'll change this number ever so slightly, but this is approximately what it's going to be. Importantly, your final grade in the course is a combination of your lecture score and your lab score. So your final Chem1A grade will be 80% your lecture score and 20% your lab score, calculated using this formula here, okay? Cool. In terms of other key things, just to point out real quick, going back to the homepage, actually I lied, going back to the course introduction page. Again, here are my office hours listed for this semester, so please look at those, as well as our lecture schedule, and more importantly, our exam schedule, right? So our exam schedule is posted here. You can see when all of your exams are for the course. Put those in your calendar now, all right? The tutoring schedule will also be updated with our ETC leaders, or rather our SI hours when we get our SI leaders information. Importantly, there's no cost associated with this course, so our homework system's free. It's actually really nice. As soon as you open up this assignment here, it'll register you. You don't have to worry too much about it. And then we also have a free online textbook, so you can find that by clicking this link here. All right, 2 other things that I just added. Number 1, our Fresno State Student ID policy for the Bulldog Testing Center, i.e. you have to have a Fresno State Student ID, so get one if you do not already have one. And then lastly, I just wanted to clarify my open math, our homework systems. My open math is what our assignments are built in. It's sort of how late work works in that system. In order to access an assignment late, you have to use what's called a late pass. You have a ton of late passes. Nobody's going to have to worry about going through all their late passes throughout the semester. But importantly, that late pass just lets you into the assignment. It does not waive that 10% per day penalty that you have for not turning in your lecture assignments on time. So going back here, you can just note that all of our homework assignments, they can be turned in late, but there's going to be a 10% penalty per day late. And then that assignment closes for good, meaning that you cannot turn it in after that point 5 days after that due date. So you have up to 5 days to turn it in late for some credit. It will cost you a late pass or multiple late passes if you're multiple days late, and you will incur a 10% penalty per day late. That's true for our lecture assignments and our end of chapter assignments. All of our homework assignments here have that 10% penalty. All right, and lastly, what you're going to do for me is complete these 2 introduction assignments. One where you're going to introduce yourself publicly to the rest of the class, but then also another one where you're going to introduce yourself to me privately, and you can let me know anything that you don't want broadcasted to the rest of the class. All right, so here is our course introduction module, that very first module on Canvas, all that important information that you can reference back throughout the semester, our syllabus, as well as our schedule, my office hours, and our tutoring, our textbook, all that stuff under that course introduction module. The rest of the semester is going to look a lot like our chapter 1 module here, where each new chapter that we cover will have another module open that is associated with that chapter. All right, looking forward to seeing you all on our first class meeting.